I like that, Whoopi. And you know, it's interesting that a lot of the English language has to be rethought. Blackmailing is negative, black sheep, negative. I can think of a few others if I had the time, but those words are kind of like embedded in our psyches and maybe need to be changed. Why is a black sheep a bad thing and a white sheep is a good thing? I always have friends where I work, and if I don't have friends at the job, I will not keep the job. So when I was fired the last time from this show, people say to me, were you okay with that? And my answer is, I was happy.
Now, we know Joy returned to the Daytime Talker in 2015, and she's been there ever since, which begs the question, why are the ladies rehashing old news, like when Joy got fired in 2013? Well, because it was one of Thursday's hot topics.
The rise of more employees working remotely has apparently led to a decline in the so-called work best friend.
I always have friends where I work, and if I don't have friends at the job, I will not keep the job. You know, I've had a lot of therapy, and that's what you need at The View.
Now to the cackling witch herself, Joy Behar from The View, whose jealousy is something to behold.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
Here is Joy objectifying the White House press secretary, saying she only has the job because she...
Democrats in the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
Joy Behar, one of the most outspoken and controversial figures on television, has just found herself at the center of a shocking scandal.
Me, with my kind of skin and my kind of hair, was never considered beautiful. So, do her words resonate with you at all? I mean, I can't imagine that you were ever not considered beautiful.
I know. Why? Thank you.
You remember Richard Spencer? He's basically the organizer of Unite the Right, the white nationalist group that was marching in Charlottesville. It was all in for Trump. Not anymore. Here's his quote. He tweeted last night, "I deeply regret voting for and promoting Donald Trump in 2016.
Joy Behar, a name practically synonymous with daytime television, finds herself at the center of an extraordinary scandal. Rumors erupted claiming she was arrested while trying to flee the country, all because of a shocking $50 million defamation lawsuit filed against her. The real question is, could Joy Behar, a veteran co-host of The View, be so desperate as to attempt an international escape? Or is this just another wild story in a world already full of media spin and sensational headline? In the midst of these swirling allegations stands Karoline Leavitt, the newly minted White House press secretary who's making waves of her own. Some see her as a savvy political communicator shaking up the status quo. Others claim she's merely a White House puppet. But one fateful remark made by Joy set a chain of events in motion, leading to an epic collision of personality, reputation, and courtroom showdown. Before you dismiss this saga as a trivial spat, think again. Because if the rumors are true, Joy's entire career at The View, and possibly her freedom, could be at stake. Sit tight, because each layer of this controversy is more jaw-dropping than the last. It all began on what seemed like just another episode of The View. Joy Behar, known for her outspoken opinion, went off script, throwing a biting comment at Karoline Leavitt. In a heated segment about the changing dynamics of the Trump White House, Joy alleged that Karoline's pretty face might have been a key factor in her appointment. Her exact words set social media on fire. She claimed that the only reason Donald Trump was impressed with Karoline was that, according to him, she's a 10. While Joy appeared to be going for a sassy one-liner, perhaps aiming to highlight the administration's alleged focus on optics over substance, it sparked a storm of criticism. Critics argued that Joy was trivializing a woman's professional achievements and reducing them to mere aesthetic, something they felt Joy herself had long claimed to stand against. What Joy might have thought would land as a comedic jab instead played out as a direct challenge to Karoline's qualification. And this wasn't just any standard political scuffle. Karoline Leavitt wasn't content to move on as if nothing had happened. Karoline Leavitt, at 27 years old, had already made a mark by becoming one of the youngest White House press secretaries in history. Critics pegged her as too inexperienced for such a pivotal role, but supporters applauded her sharp communication skills and direct approach. She rarely sidestepped questions and showed unusual composure for someone so new to the national spotlight. When Joy took a swipe at Karoline's legitimacy, the reaction was swift. Viewers flooded social media with outrage, accusing Joy of hypocrisy. After all, Hadn't Joy spent years defending women's rights, insisting that a woman's looks should never overshadow her intelligence or capabilities? Now it seemed she was throwing those beliefs out the window by suggesting Karoline was purely a product of hotness. Within hours, political commentators were dissecting Joy's statement. Some argued that Joy was simply pointing out the Trump administration's penchant for style over substance. Others insisted her words were a textbook case of body shaming. Hashtags took off like wildfire, with #CancelTheView and #StandWithCaroline trending simultaneously. News outlets replayed the clip on loop, discussing whether Joy had gone too far this time. Things took an even sharper turn when petitions started popping up online, demanding Joy's removal from The View. If Joy thought this would blow over as just another controversy, she was quickly proven wrong. The wave of public discontent kept growing, forging a level of bipartisan agreement almost never seen in this polarized climate. And while Karoline could have issued a simple clapback tweet, she opted for a far more decisive move, one that would drag Joy into a legal storm she never saw coming. If the backlash seemed intense, it was only the tip of the iceberg. Karoline decided to file a whopping $50 million defamation lawsuit against Joy. Legal experts were stunned by the sheer magnitude of the claim. Defamation suits in the entertainment world aren't unusual, but a sum this massive in daytime TV was almost unprecedented. According to the lawsuit, Joy's comment wasn't just a fleeting jab. The filing alleged that Joy intentionally made false statements to undermine Karoline's professional standing, painting her as an unqualified pretty face rather than a credible press secretary. In short, Karoline and her lawyers claimed Joy had inflicted serious damage on her reputation and career trajectory. ABC, the network behind The View, found itself in a precarious position. Having Joy on the show had always been a gamble. Her outspoken nature had stirred the pot more than once, but it was also a big part of the show's brand. Provocative comments, after all, bring in rating. Yet now, advertisers started showing real concern. Some even pulled their sponsorship, citing the negative publicity swirling around Joy's remark. Behind closed doors, tension mounted at ABC headquarters. Executives allegedly held urgent meetings, worried about the potential PR fallout. Could they afford to back Joy amid a possible multi-million-dollar legal crisis? Or would they cut their losses and salvage what remained of the network's reputation? In the meantime, Joy's legal team scrambled to respond. Initially, they tried to frame her comments as humor, or at worst, harmless opinion. But as the lawsuit garnered more attention, Joy's usual bravado began to crack. Friends close to the comedian described her as unusually tense. She recognized that if the lawsuit proceeded unchecked, she might be on the hook for more than just money. She risked losing the support of ABC, her longtime fans, and the professional credibility she'd built over decades on television. But even with all this swirling chaos, nobody expected Joy to do what she allegedly did next. Sometimes, truth is stranger than fiction. At least that's how it felt when rumors broke that Joy Behar was apprehended while attempting to flee the country. Initially, people thought it might be a wild internet hoax. After all, would a talk show veteran really hop on a plane to evade a lawsuit? But the details that emerged painted a picture too dramatic to ignore. According to multiple reports, Joy booked a one-way ticket to Italy, her family's ancestral homeland. The reasoning seemed straightforward. If she left U.S. jurisdiction, the lawsuit could become infinitely more complicated, or so she might have believed. Many speculated she feared the $50 million claim could crush her financially and wanted a head start creating a new life overseas before the legal hammer came down. Yet Joy never made it onto that plane. Federal authorities, apparently tipped off to her sudden travel plans, intercepted her at the airport. Witnesses described a scene of disbelief. Joy, typically unflappable and assertive on national TV, reportedly looked panicked as law enforcement officials detained her. Viral videos soon emerged, showing her being escorted away in handcuffs while onlookers gaped in shock. What started as a gossip item became a top headline within hours. Major news outlets ran breaking stories, while social media platforms exploded with commentary. Some viewers who'd followed Joy for years refused to believe she'd resort to such a drastic move, insisting the media was spinning a lie. But the arrest footage left little room for doubt. In that single airport moment, Joy's public image took a catastrophic hit. The woman who had long been known for her brash takes on everything from politics to pop culture was now the subject of humiliation on an international stage. And for ABC, the network that employed her, the decision on what to do next proved inevitable and swift. Almost instantly, ABC released a terse statement distancing itself from Joy Behar, carefully worded to avoid legal liability. It confirmed that Joy was no longer affiliated with the network. While this statement didn't mention the rumors of her fleeing or the arrest specifically, the timing spoke volume. In the blink of an eye, one of The View's most recognizable faces was gone. Producers of the show found themselves in uncharted territory. For years, Joy had been a linchpin, someone who stirred debate, elicited both love and hate from audiences, and ultimately boosted rating. Now, her name was poison, tied to one of the most scandalous controversies daytime TV had ever seen. Within the halls of the network, panic reportedly took hold. Who would replace Joy and bring that same fiery energy? How would the show handle the inevitable wave of public scrutiny? Discussions about whether The View could even survive without Joy soon emerged. Despite her flaws, she had been a constant presence viewers either loved or loved to hate. Meanwhile, the public response was polarizing. Some fans argued Joy was a casualty of an overzealous cancel culture that punishes any slip of the tongue. Others insisted she had finally crossed a line too big to ignore, pointing to her hypocrisy in belittling another woman's achievement. Political pundits on cable news channels debated whether Joy's downfall was a sign of deeper issues, a media landscape where shock value has overshadowed thoughtful discourse. But one detail overshadowed everything else. The $50 million lawsuit wasn't going away. Joy was still tangled in a legal battle with Karoline Leavitt, who had no intention of backing down. Even with Joy off the air and facing potential legal trouble, the question remained: how would this all pan out in court? With Joy removed from The View, her legal team's focus shifted almost entirely to combating the defamation lawsuit. Some legal analysts speculated that Joy might counter-sue, claiming her remark was free speech or protected opinion. Others wondered if a private settlement would emerge behind closed doors, allowing Joy to quietly pay her way out of the mess. Yet the damage to Joy's career seemed increasingly irreversible. While some supporters spoke up to defend her as a sharp, witty host who simply misspoke, the arrest at the airport cast a long shadow. Videos of her detainment continued to circulate, feeding a narrative of guilt. Then there's Karoline Leavitt, who was thrust into a new kind of spotlight. Already under scrutiny for her role in the Trump White House, Karoline found herself with a growing platform. Media outlets invited her to speak more frequently, not just about the lawsuit, but about her work in government. She became, in many eyes, a symbol of youthful energy challenging an established media figure. Even those who disliked Karoline politically began to respect her unwavering stand. After all, it takes boldness to launch a massive defamation suit against a high-profile celebrity like Joy. Some commentators noted that the lawsuit might open future political doors for Karoline, painting her as a staunch defender of her credibility and an advocate for fair treatment in the press. In the court of public opinion, Joy still has a loyal faction. Some argue that a single comment shouldn't end a decades-long career. They blame the fiasco on a sensational media environment hungry for the next meltdown. Still, that viewpoint does little to alleviate Joy's immediate legal problem. As for The View, rumors swirl that producers are auditioning a range of possible replacements, everyone from established comedians to political analysts. Whether the show can regain its footing remains uncertain. Some believe losing Joy might open the door for a fresher, more balanced approach. Others say her absence removes the very spark that made the show a cultural phenomenon. Beyond Joy and Karoline, the repercussions of this scandal stretch across daytime television. In an era where personal branding is everything, hosts live and die by public perception. Even minor controversies can ignite social media outrage. This fiasco escalated with record speed, revealing just how combustible the industry can be when reputations collide with high-stakes politics. Advertisers, too, are now on edge. Companies that once saw The View as prime real estate for reaching diverse audiences may hesitate, fearing another bombshell moment could harm their brand. ABC, already grappling with shifting viewer demographics and streaming competitors, must weigh the cost of courting controversy against the risk of anodyne programming that doesn't generate buzz. On a cultural level, Joy's downfall and Karoline's rise in the media space underscore a deep rift. Audiences are sharply divided on issues of respect, free speech, and accountability. The notion that one flippant remark could set off a domino effect culminating in an alleged airport arrest and a $50 million lawsuit sounds almost too surreal to be real. Yet here we are, living through a saga that keeps unfolding by the hour. Political figures have also seized the moment. Supporters of the Trump administration are pointing to Joy's fiasco as proof the mainstream media is biased and hypocritical. Some left-leaning pundits lament that Joy's misstep gave the Trump camp new ammunition to rail against liberal media elitism. In short, Everyone is turning this scandal into rhetorical gold, fueling an already fractured national discourse. So where does this leave Joy Behar, Karoline Leavitt, and The View? Right now, the future is murky. Karoline's lawsuit is forging ahead, and Joy's legal team has its work cut out. Joy's arrest at the airport adds a layer of complication that makes her position even more precarious. Will Joy manage to salvage her reputation through a public apology, or will she dig her heels in, leading to an even more explosive trial? Some insiders whisper about an undisclosed settlement that could allow Joy to walk away relatively unscathed, albeit with her pocketbook significantly lighter. Others predict a protracted legal battle that keeps this story in the headlines for months, maybe years to come. On Karoline's end, her surge in visibility might translate into greater political capital. She's already become a fixture on certain talk shows and news segments, discussing everything from policy issues to the importance of women supporting one another in professional spaces. Ironically, the very comment Joy hurled at her has elevated Karoline's profile beyond anything she might have achieved with a less sensational spat. As for The View, the show faces questions it hasn't grappled with in a long time. Can it continue without its longtime firebrand? Will viewers remain loyal, or shift to other daytime talk formats that manage to keep the heat without spiraling into fiasco? For now, producers are treading carefully, well aware that any misstep could trigger another meltdown in an already precarious media environment. What's clear is that this story is far from over. The allegations against Joy, the lawsuit from Karoline, and the broader conversation about how women in public life are perceived will continue to evolve and likely intensify. That leaves you, the viewer, to decide, is Joy Behar a victim of sensationalist media and harsh public opinion? Or did she cross a line that demands real accountability? In the meantime, we can only watch as this spectacle plays out in the courts and in the headline. No matter the ultimate verdict, the scandal serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of off-the-cuff remarks in a hyper-connected world. It also reminds us that controversies involving big personalities can spiral out of control faster than anyone ever expects. What do you think? Will Joy mount a successful comeback? Or is her television legacy forever tarnished? And how will Karoline Leavitt use this newfound spotlight to shape her future in politics? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for the latest on this ongoing drama. Stay tuned, because if this saga has taught us anything, it's that surprises lurk around every corner. And trust us, you won't want to miss a single headline in what promises to be one of the most unforgettable stories in daytime television history.